Welcome back. So for today's self-care in isolation and social distancing, we've got a twofold situation. So for one, I did my makeup. I didn't go all in, no eyeshadow, no blush, no powder, none of that, no concealer or foundation, just eyebrows, eyelashes, eyeliner, and darkened up my little mole there because why not? So that was one. Also, I'm going to wear my hair down for a little bit until I start, getting into, major chores where it just doesn't make sense to have my hair down and gets in the way and I don't like it. So, but for now, for this morning, I am. And there is something about doing something with your hair and putting your face on that just motivates and inspires and makes you just get going. I don't know. Something about it. And I'm glad I did it. Now, the other part is I am going to take some time out for myself this morning. I've already gotten several chores done. I got the kids up and going, and they've eaten breakfast, and now they are putting clothes away that I folded and got ready for them. So I'm going to take a little bit of time for myself to read. And many of you know from my other channel, my main channel, that I am a dumpster diver. And this is one of the books that I recovered from the recycling bin at the thrift store. It is Rosamund Pilcher's The Blue Bedroom and Other Stories. So I've been going through and reading these in the bathroom because that's the only time I have time for myself anymore, unless I get up early or stay up late. So, and we'll be talking about that more in another video. But I've been reading this, and I'm going to take some time right now to just read, to just sit and read. Oh, I got to grab my coffee first, but that's what I'm going to do for my self-care today. But for you, I wanted to share a passage in here that was really poignant to me and really touching and kind of, I don't know, it just really affected me in light of everything that's going on right now and just all the chaos and madness and worry and fear and stress. So this is from a story, one of her short stories called Toby. And what has happened is there's a little boy and his best friend is an older man, an elderly man that lived down the road. And he is his best friend. And they live in farm country in the UK. And the old man has passed away, and the little boy is, really upset, and he's trying to deal with this and facing mortality at such a young age and learning about death. Well, he goes to talk to his grandma, who lives in kind of a mother-in-law apartment attached to the house. And they have a lovely conversation, but let me start right here. Let's see. Okay. Were you in love when you married Grandpa? I think I was. It's so long ago that sometimes I forget. Did you? He hesitated. But he had to know, and Granny was a person who never minded awkward questions. When he died, did you miss him very much? Why do you ask that? Are you missing Mr. Sockham? Yes. All day I've been missing him. It'll get better. The missing bit will get better. And then you'll only remember the good times. Is that how it was with you and Grandpa? I think so, yes. Is it very frightening to die? I don't know. She smiled her familiar smile, amused and gaming. That was so surprising in that old and wrinkled face. I've never done it. But he looked intently into her eyes. Nobody could live forever. But aren't you frightened? Granny leaned forward to take Toby's hand into her own. You know, she said, I've always thought that each person's life is like a mountain, and each person has to climb that mountain alone. To begin with, you start in the valley, and it's warm and sunny, and there are lots of meadows and little streams and buttercups and things. That's when you're a child. And then you start to climb. Slowly, the mountain becomes a little steeper, and the going isn't so easy. But if you stop every now and then and look about you, then the wonderful views are worth every bit of effort. And the very top of the mountain, the peak, where the snow and the ice glitter in the sunshine, and it is all beautiful beyond belief, why, that is the summit, the great achievement. the end of the long journey. She made it sound magnificent. He said, full of love for her, "I don't want you to die." Granny laughed. "Oh, my darling, don't worry about that. I'm going to be around, being a nuisance to you all for a long time yet. And now, why don't we each have a peppermint cream? And then a game of clock patience. How nice that you came to see me. I was beginning to be a little tired of my own company." Later, he said goodnight and left her, went to clean his teeth and then to his bedroom. He drew back the curtains. It had stopped raining, and there was the beginnings of a moon climbing the sky in the east. In the half-light, he could see the paddock and the dim shapes of the sheep and their lambs gathering beneath the sheltering branches of the old pine. He took off his dressing gown and got into bed. His mother had put a hot water bottle into it, which was a treat, and he pulled this up onto his stomach and lay wide-eyed in the soft darkness, feeling warm and thoughtful. He decided that today he had learned a lot about life. He had helped at a birth and had seen in Vicky and Tom the start of a new relationship. Perhaps they would get married. Perhaps not. If they did get married, then they would have babies. He already knew how babies started because once, in the course of a manly chat about cattle breeding, Mr. Sockham had told him, which would make him, Toby, an uncle. And as for death, death is a part of life, his mother had told him. And Willie had said that death was a secret between God and himself. But Granny believed that death was the glittering, shining peak of each person's private mountain, and that perhaps was the best, the most comforting of all. Mr. Sockham had climbed his mountain and reached his peak. Toby imagined him standing there, triumphant, wearing sun goggles because of the brightness of the sky, and his best Sunday suit, and perhaps holding a flag. He was suddenly very tired. He closed his eyes. A 200% lambing, how satisfied Mr. Sockham would have been, and what a pity that he had not lived long enough to know about Daisy's twins. But as sleep crept up on him, he smiled to himself because, for no particular reason, he was suddenly pretty certain that wherever he was now, his old friend already knew. And that's that. I really found that just, I don't know, motivating and inspiring and delightful and pleasant and encouraging. I know there's a lot of fear right now, a lot of worry. I was in the grocery store the other day and it was crazy. Everyone was looking at everyone else and there was suspicion and the anxiety was palpable. You could just cut it with a knife. And it was very upsetting to me. And I really felt like once I got back in the car, I was finally able to breathe again. And that's just kind of the feeling right now. And we're all worried about getting sick and possibly dying, or our loved ones getting sick and possibly dying. And that is a real and legit fear. And that should be recognized and honored that we are worried about that. But guys, what I'm hoping to share with you today is a little bit of hope. Hoping to share hope. Everybody dies. It is a very painful and tragic reality. It is the price for living and loving. We all die at some time or another. But what we do between now and when and how that happens, that's life and that's living. And that's what we're doing right now, even in these trying times and confined situations with worry and all kinds of other things going on. We are still on that mountain and we are still climbing. And hopefully you will take the time, at least for a few minutes a day, to stop and look at the view from where you're at on the mountain and see all of it. Not just the lines outside of the Costco, not just the loony people fighting over necessities and supplies, not just the empty shelves void of toilet paper, barren cleaning supply shelves, but also all of the good things that are happening out in the valley below you as you climb that hill in social isolation. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And now I'm going to read some more of this because it's time for that. Have a great day. I will see you all real soon.